Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to worship at Holmeswood. I'm Mark Garrett. I'm glad you're here today. Let's start off by wishing our mothers a happy Mother's Day. Let's give them a round of applause. It is good to worship with you this morning, and welcome to those of you who are worshiping online with us. If you are online, please greet one another in the comment box. If this is your first time to worship at Holmeswood, we're glad you're here with us. There are water fountains and men's and women's and gender-neutral restrooms in the Terry Brown gathering space just outside the sanctuary. We would love to get to know you better. Please use the QR code on the worship bulletin or the screen or a card from the back of the pew to let us know how you prefer to be in contact with Holmeswood. When you complete the information, we will donate $10 to Imagine Forever Ranch in your honor. I do have a few announcements for you this morning. This Saturday, we will have our final nature walk. We've done this for 4 Saturdays since Easter. Well, this will be the 4th Saturday since Easter. Carmen Ramirez has been leading these nature walks at the Indian Creek Greenway Trail from 9 to 10 on Saturdays. I did it yesterday. You can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. So join us on May 17th for the final one. We will be encouraged on these walks to observe our natural surroundings, enjoy the spring blooms, and appreciate the beauty of nature. As we embrace nature, we will discuss verses that remind us to celebrate the beauty God provides. Everyone is welcome. Greeter sign-ups. There's a sign-up sheet to serve as a greeter in the entryway outside the sanctuary. We could use some volunteers to serve in this capacity for the month of June. If you're able to help, please sign up as you leave the sanctuary today. Children's clothing for center families. The Mission Council is ready to begin receiving donations again of new or gently used children's clothing for our clothes closet, supporting center families. We especially need new underwear for both boys and girls, and boys' clothing, pants and jeans from size small to extra large. Donations can be placed in the basket in the Galleria or given directly to anyone on the Missions Council, or you can always give it to Pastor Tammy. Thank you for all the ways that you continue to support our center families. The Pride Parade and booth planning efforts are underway. KC Pride Fest is coming. Holmeswood will be in the parade and will have a booth that weekend, June 6th through 8th. There will be a sign-up sheet in the coming weeks for the parade, so look out for that. We will also need volunteers to help with the booth at different times throughout the event. A group will soon begin planning for the booth. If you're interested in helping, please let Pastor Michael know. As we prepare to worship together, let's take a moment to slow down and reflect. When you think about God, what comes to mind? What were you taught God is like? Who have you wanted or needed God to be in your life? As we bring those things to mind, let's remember that our ideas of God are not final, and the living God may surprise us. Your journey, your questions, your experiences are all welcome in this place. Here at Holmeswood, we are committed to journeying through life with the inclusive Christ, and we believe that journey calls us to love one another. You're invited to share this path with others as we learn to follow Christ. Let us worship together.
I believe for every drop of rain that falls, a flower grows. I believe that somewhere in the darkest night, a candle glows. I believe storm, the smallest prayer will still be heard. I believe that someone in the great somewhere hears every word. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know why I believe. Every time I hear a newborn baby cry, or touch a leaf, or see the sky, then I know why I believe.
Good morning, Holmeswood. It's good to see you all today. Let's sing together. See how good it is, gathering with friends, welcoming the stranger in. See how good it is when God's children live as one. By the Spirit we become the open arms of God to a world in need of love. Sacrificial seeds, we're ordained as priests, spreading out God's joyful feast. See how good it is when God's children live as one. By the Spirit we become the open arms of God to a world in need of love. See the earth renewed by the morning dew. All creation sings the truth. See how good it is when God's children live as one. By the Spirit we become the open arms of God to a world in need of love, to a world in need of love.
Hello, I'm Sarah Zay. This is Kate Sanders. In 2025, our BFGs each have adopted a local Kansas City mission, and so the middle school group and our Friends United BFGs both adopted Imagine Forever Ranch. And I'm going to tell a little bit about what it is, and then Kate's going to talk about our experience going out there yesterday. So Imagine Forever Ranch is a senior dog sanctuary. It's out in Shawnee, Kansas, dedicated to giving older dogs a second chance at life filled with love, comfort, and joy. It's on 4 acres of land out there and provides a safe, open space for those dogs to receive emotional and medical care, all thanks to volunteer efforts and donations. They're 100% volunteer and donation driven. In addition to offering a loving sanctuary, Imagine Forever Ranch actively works to find permanent homes for these dogs through fostering and adoption, and they strive to match each pup with a caring family and a forever home, not more of a hospice like some of us thought that it might be. So it's a wonderful place, and we got to go out there and visit yesterday, and Kate's going to tell you a little bit about that.
Hi. Imagine Forever Ranch was a really peaceful place where senior dogs can just live out their lives until they're adopted, or they can stay there for the rest of their lives if they aren't. When I first came here, I didn't know what to expect, but the volunteers were so nice and had so much energy toward the dogs and each other. The dogs were 7 years and older, so they were pretty old, but you could tell that they were happy to finally found a safe home. We walked a dog named Buddy with a volunteer that me and my mom talked to for about an hour, who said that there were over 200 volunteers that were dedicated to helping the dogs find a safe home and for however long they needed. There were different groups of people outside and inside. Outside people just worked on painting and staining fences, while the inside people, the inside group that I was in, we helped clean the dogs' areas and get them outside to get used to the place. It was a very free place where you could do anything you want to help the dogs in any way. Forever Ranch was such a peaceful place where you could just relax. Thank you.
At this time, we welcome the children to come forward here to the front pew with me for a moment to help us get ready and to worship together. Skipping is the way to go to church, folks. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Good to see you again. Welcome. We are so glad you are here with us again. Welcome, you guys. Hi, Aiden. Glad you're back to help us here in big worship today. Once there was someone who said such amazing things and did such wonderful things that the people began to follow him. But they didn't know who he was. So one day they simply decided to ask him. Can you say it with me? Who are you? Can you say it? Who are you?
Who are you?
And he said, I am Superman.
No.
Faster than a speeding bullet, more powerful than a locomotive, able to leap tall buildings with a single bound. Superman. Is that what Jesus?
No.
Oh,
Jesus,
it wasn't?
I am Jesus.
He said, I'm Jesus? Is that what he said? Or did he say,
I am the light.
I am the light, or I am
The shepherd.
the good shepherd? Can you put that up? The good shepherd. That could, it could be kind of confusing. Can you imagine if you were following Jesus around, like in our Bible story today, here and in Worship and Wonder? The people who had been following Jesus around and watching him were like, wow, he's healing people, he's talking with people, he's doing these miracles, feeding people, he's doing amazing things. Who are you? And he says,
I
a good
am the
shepherd.
light.
I
I am
am.
the good shepherd.
We do have stories that say I am the light too. So I am the good shepherd. So I wonder what it is that a good shepherd does that makes people stick to him like they do, follow him. He said, I know all of my sheep by name, and they know the sound of my voice. So when I show them the way, they follow me. I wonder what it's like to so admire someone who knows your name that you want to follow them and be close to them. I wonder. Will you pray with me before we go back to wonder some more on this story? Our loving God, we thank you that you love us like a good shepherd, and you know each of our names. And we walk slowly when we go to worship and wonder. Amen.
Would you stand as you're able as we continue in worship together?
Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you, we live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. I live for you. We live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe. We live for you. We live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. I will build my life upon your love. It is a firm foundation, and I will put my trust in you alone, and I will not be shaken. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes and wonder and show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me.
Holy, there is no one like you. There is no one beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder and show me who you are. There is a practice that the staff sometimes takes during our weekly pastor and staff meetings. And the question that a number of times we start the meeting is, where have you experienced goodness today? Not since this past week, not yesterday, but from the time that you opened your eyes to the time that we've started this meeting, where have you experienced goodness? And that's another way of saying, of where have you experienced sacredness? Christ, the sacred, the holy. It's a practice and a way of trying to lean to the notion that the goodness of God is all around us, is around you. Open my eyes. Open each of our eyes, always, so that we always see Christ. I recognize we come together today with a unique, wondering, emotional swirling of today. It is Mother's Day, and we give deep and great thanks for the mothers and those who have been motherly to us, to me and to you. I also recognize that today can be a hard day, a tender day. Sometimes children die. Sometimes relationships are strained. Sometimes dreams never come to fruition as we hoped they might be. And so it is into all of this that I invite you to name wherever you are in this moment. And name and recognize the fullness of Christ is with you. The fullness of today. That you are not alone in this space. You have physical representation of Christ around you, and you have the fullness of Christ within you. It's into all this that we sing our praises, we offer our prayers, we bring the fullness that we are to this now. And we do so alongside our Christ. I invite you, if you have your copy of the Second Testament, the New Testament, to the Gospel of John. John chapter 10, verses 22 through 30. Jesus is in the temple and he is offered these various teachings, these parables, these sayings that John describes. Jesus will use these enigmatic illustrations. Truly, I say to you, I am the door. I am the door through which the sheep enter. Jesus, what are you talking about? I am the good shepherd. Jesus, those who are around you right now are religious theologians. We ain't in the fields with those dirty folk, those unclean folk. What do you mean you are the good shepherd? Jesus, tell us straight. What are you about? What are you doing? What's your main mission, your main goal? And John continues the story this way in John 10, 22 through 30. At that time, it was the festival of the dedication, and it was taking place in the holy city of Jerusalem. It was winter, and Jesus was walking in the temple in the portico of Solomon. So the Jews were gathered around Jesus, and they said to him, "How long will you keep us in suspense, Jesus? If you are the Christ, if you are the Messiah, just tell us. Shoot it straight. It's a yes or no question." Yet Jesus answered, "I have already told you, and you do not believe. The works that I do in my God's name testify to me, but you do not believe because you do not belong to my sheep. My sheep hear my voice. I know them, and they follow me. I give them eternal life, and they will never perish. No one will ever snatch them out of my hand. My Father, in regard to what he has given me, is greater than all, and no one can snatch them out of my God's hand. The Father God and I are one." There are sometimes when I get parenting right, and I know that I do. It's not from a bragging kind of a way. It's just, I know in this moment I did the right thing. I encouraged my child. I coached my child in a healthy kind of a way. Other times, though, I know that at best I foul-tipped the ball. Want a complete swing and a miss, but my patience is slim. My irritation grows. In those moments, it is typically when a child asks me the same question over and over and over again. I've already told you. It's one thing when I say it to my daughters. What do you do when Jesus says it to you? I've already told you. And that's what Jesus is saying to the religious leaders. Jesus is there in the temple in the portico of Solomon, that place where kings would come and they would render their judgment. It was the time of the year of the Jewish community, where the Jewish community celebrated the Feast of Dedication, what you and I might now know as Hanukkah. And as is typical Jesus, he's not alone. No, there is a large gaggle of a crowd around him. Except these weren't just normal folk. No, these were the theologians of the day. When John says it was the Jews who were with him, that is another way of saying it was the pastors, the priests, those who went to seminary, those who aced rabbi school. It was those who were around Jesus. They were pestering him and asking him. They said, "Jesus, tell us plainly." This is a simple yes or no answer. Don't elaborate. Just shoot it straight. Are you the Christ? Are you the Messiah? Now, sometimes I wonder if the religious leaders were genuine in their question. Jesus, we see what you've been doing all along. We hear the stories you tell, the way that you interpret the scriptures, the signs you are doing, the eyes that you open. Tell it to us, Jesus. I want to know, are you the one whom we've been waiting for? Are you the Christ? Are you the Messiah? Jesus, tell it to us straight. Other times, though, there are other times I wonder if there's a bit of underbellyness to their question. We've seen what you have been doing, Jesus. We see some dominoes that are starting to line up a bit, and that's not how things are supposed to go. Jesus, don't mess around with these enigmatic parables nor these provocative signs. Tell it to us straight, Jesus. Are you the Christ? It's a bit ironic that this story, every year in the lectionary of going through the scriptures, 3 Sundays after Easter, this story appears. Easter, you know, that great resurrection Sunday where we all sang, He is risen indeed. We gathered at Mount Moriah to rehearse the story again of the women going to this tomb and seeing that it was empty, of Mary hearing her voice called out. We gathered in the sanctuary today. We heard Handel's beautiful Messiah. Some of you went up there and sang of it. Surely, out of all the signs, of all the stories, of all the ways, that resurrection is plainly, definitively the greatest sign that Jesus is the Christ, the Messiah, the Son of God. Why then do we hear this story nearly 3 weeks every year after Easter? Maybe because this is how faith in Jesus seems to play itself out in our lives, at least in my life, and maybe yours as well. While I want a life of faith to progress in a linear fashion of skepticism or unbelief, then skepticism, then belief, y'all, we're friends here. That's not how my life of faith always works. Sometimes I don't believe. Sometimes I move to skepticism. Sometimes I'm full on board. But something happens. And I find myself back into a space of skepticism. And in the darkest of nights, in the quietest of closets, I sometimes drift into unbelief. It's this metronomic back and forth at times, which maybe makes sense this story shows up 3 weeks after Easter each and every year. You know, some people consider this metronomic rhythm a sign of weakness. David, you're the pastor. You of all people should believe and fully believe all the time, right? I think, though, that when this cyclical rhythm of faith is fully acknowledged, it is a sign of healthiness, of healthy maturity in faith. This wafting and wangling, this going back and forth, this constant rhythm and movement is really what humans do. It's actually very common. I just wish that in Jesus' response, that it was a bit more comforting than biting. Jesus says, you don't believe because you don't belong to my sheep. Jesus, I do. And I have questions. I do, and there's something that's just wrestling inside of me. Those who are of my flock hear me and follow me, is what Jesus says. Follow me? Follow me. Now that's something I can get on board with. Follow me. What a fascinating concept. Jesus does not say it is those who hold a particular doctrine who are his. Those who clearly articulate certain theologies. Those who are able to expound on the root meaning and explanation of incarnation. Those who fully grasp the contention of predestination versus free will. It's not those who pray prayers that make the needs of others weak, or those who offer their full financial life savings to the church. It's not those who chair various committees who are able to quote specific creeds or offer cleverly worded sermons. No. In the scene in John during this Good Shepherd discourse, Jesus states that his sheep, who are part of his flock, who hear his voice and follow him, those are his. And I think that is the message for you and for me today. That whatever belief, whatever hope I have in Jesus does not derive from this emotional ups and downs of life. Rather, it comes from the daily and even hourly business of belonging to Jesus' flock and following him wherever he goes. It is listening to the voice of the one who does not call out from the confines and pageantry of the sanctuary, but whose lessons are taught and learned in the rocky hills, the hidden pastures, and even in the dark valleys of life. And if I am unwilling to follow him into these places, the places that are both restful and treacherous, the places of trust and doubt, then I will never fully belong to him. I once heard a pastor say this: faith is not a laminated card you carry in your pocket. Faith is not a laminated card you carry in your pocket. No, faith is a long, hard road you have to walk. And if I'm humble enough, I might add on to it. It's a hard road you walk, but you do so with Jesus as your guide. To say it another way, it's really hard being an armchair or Monday morning Christian. It's only when you get out of your chairs and actually live the Christian life do you and I have a deeper faith and belief in Jesus. Then when it comes to following Jesus and incorporating his ways, is not whether we consider ourselves a, quote, friend of sinners, but whether sinners consider us their friend. Which is why I consciously and try to look around and who are my friends? Do they look like me? Are we in the same financial bracket? Do they have the same similar perspective on life or on an education level? If so, that's a sign that I probably need to listen more closely to the voice of the Good Shepherd who is around me and inside of everyone, to lean more into his wider embrace. See, the religious leaders of the day who posed their question to Jesus were not satisfied with his response. In fact, if you keep going through the verses and keep hearing the story again, they actually pick up stones, getting ready to throw and hurl at him and stone him. You see, I think that they were very similar to you and to me, and that they wanted to believe from the outside. They wanted verified, actual proof. They wanted truth without trust. They wanted certainty without risks. But knowing Jesus is the Christ is beyond any intellectual exercise. To believe in the gospel sense is to trust and depend, to follow Jesus wherever he goes. It's an orientation of the heart and of the soul. It is to put everything you are and to stake it on the person, the character, the life, the death, and resurrection of Jesus as God's Son. But it is learned through relationship with others, particularly those who are different than you and me. And I don't have to tell you this. Relationships are messy. They ain't clean. Which is why Jesus does not answer the question directly, I suspect. And even if he had, I wonder if it would have done any good. If Jesus has stood up on a chair in that portico of Solomon and declared for all to hear, yes, yes, I am the Christ. Yes, I am the Messiah. Would anything have changed? Would his enigmatic parables, his countercultural teachings, and his bewildering signs, if he had declared this, would it have all of a sudden made sense? I doubt it. So, Jesus, as a good storytelling rabbi, is much more concerned about formation than formula. Jesus, the Good Shepherd, is much more concerned about leading the way and how his sheep will follow wherever he leads along the way. Jesus is much more concerned about you and me following him outside of the confines of the traditions of religion and going with him into the streets, into the alleys, into the rolling hills, and even the treacherous valleys of life. For the more that you and I follow, the clearer that we hear the distinction of his voice. The more that we follow, the greater and our trust in him grows, and our faith in him as protector deepens. The more we follow the Good Shepherd, the stronger our belief in his care, his authority, his leadership, and his guidance, the more that increases. For there is no belonging from the outside of his flock. Follow me, is what he says. Follow me, is what he says today. Follow me, is what he says to you. And his sheep recognize his voice and will follow wherever he goes. Would you please join me in prayer? Creator, the one of love, the one of peace and hope, our God, sometimes we acknowledge that we just want to hear you tell it to us straight. Sometimes we just want an answer. Lord, may we have the courage to continue to follow you. May we have the courage to see as you see. May we have the courage to embrace more of your way. May our faith deepen in you. And may our love grow because of you. All this I pray in your Son's name. Amen.
It has been so great to worship in this beautiful space on this special day. During this time, you have opportunity to respond in several ways. You can place your offerings in the baskets up front. If you need assistance, wave your hand and a deacon will help you. If you would like to give electronically, there is a QR code in the bulletin. You can also respond spiritually, and Pastor David will be up front if you would like to discuss membership to Holmeswood, baptism, or any other spiritual need. At this time, I invite you to stand as we sing and respond.
What a
Please have a seat. I believe John Brown has an update to share with the congregation.
Well, good morning. I am John Brown. I'm the co-chair of our sanctuary project, along with Mark Garrett. So we are here this morning to kick off the final stage of the campaign that we had talked about a few years ago. This week, or earlier next week, you'll be getting a letter to ask, hopefully, for your continued support for this final phase. We're hoping to ask for if you can do 50% of your last pledge over our next phase, which will be May of this year until May of 2028. If you weren't here when we started this a few years ago, or if you weren't able at that time to pledge, we'll also ask if you can contribute something for this final phase. Our goal is $633,000. That's going to allow us to pay off our previous debt that we had, that we weren't able to pay off, that we had talked about a few years ago, and tackle a few more projects here in the sanctuary and around the campus. Could be some renovation in our children's wing, some areas in our youth and gym area, a new street sign, HVAC, which always helps us feel better, cooling and heating that you don't see, and even our parking lot to the far west, which is in dire need of some help. So how does this work? We've been working sort of with a smaller group of folks, kind of silently along and working with some folks. And with those families, I can say that we have already had commitments of $275,000, almost 45% of our goal. So we have about a goal of $325,000 left for the rest of the church to help contribute. Then we would reach our goal of $633,000. So as I said, later this week, maybe the week after that, earlier, you're going to get a letter. It's going to look like this here. No, you can't see it. You're going to get a pledge card, and you will get instructions on how to fill out that pledge card. And we would really appreciate if you would prayerfully consider what you might be able to do. And then on June 8th, in a few weeks, we'll have a commitment Sunday where we'll bring our cards forward and make a commitment for this final phase. So our first phase of pledges, we pledged $1.237 million. We received pledges, 98% of those came in. That's incredible. And a few of those that didn't come in, those folks actually were folks that had moved away from the church during that time. When I talked to Erica, who was our consultant last time, she said, this was incredible. She said in her 25 years of doing this, she had never seen that kind of percentage come in from any church that she had worked with. So she was just awed at what we were as a faithful church and how much we gave and how much when we committed, we said we were going to do what we were going to do. So I just have to say thank you all very, very much for doing that, and we really appreciate all that you've done. If you have any questions about anything, you can get a hold of Mark or David or myself. We have all the documents, different documents on projects, different things, what we did, how much we raised, etc. We can share any of that information with you to help you feel more comfortable. So, thank you.
There are many reasons why I love this church. I mean, the biggest reason is because of you, right? There are other practical examples. Like what John said, 98% of pledges received last time is incredible. If you weren't here prior to this space being renovated, you are the beneficiaries of no longer having 1970s, 80s orange pews and orange carpet and what's the stuff on the wall coming down. This is a much richer space. I worship much easier. I breathe easier in this space. It's not about the money, is really what I'm trying to say. But it is about the commitment. This is the healthiest time that I've been at Holmeswood in the past 15 years. And there's so many examples of that. So as we continue on, I hope that if you've been paying attention the past couple of years, none of this should be new to you. We're still following the plan. So I encourage you to join alongside this plan. One of the reasons, again, that I love this place is because of you. Y'all do so much in different ways around here. I've heard nothing but incredible things about the walks with Carmen these past Sundays. my schedule is going to be able to join this coming Saturday. I've been coaching Hayden's soccer team the previous 3 weeks. The season's over, so I'm committed to being there, and I look forward to joining alongside you, and I've heard great responses. The difficulty with all that y'all do is sometimes I forget to name people. Jody, thank you so much for helping in the grounds in recent time, for helping with the scattering and getting rid of the crabgrass and spending multiple hours and sweating in the sun. I forgot to name Jody's name last week in the listing of people working on the grounds. So thank you, Jody. Thank you for your sweat. Thank you for your tenacity. Thank you for being here and helping this place thrive and be beautiful. If you haven't heard it today, know that you're loved. Know that I love you. I give thanks for you. Know that I feel loved by you. And I give thanks for that. But most deeply and greatly, I give thanks for the one who is the fullness of love, for the Christ, who is in you, who is in this place, and who is all around. So as you go from this week, as you go from this place, and as you go throughout this week, go with eyes searching and looking. Go with the eyes of Christ. Go with hands working and opening. Go with the hands of Christ. Go with a heart loving and embracing. Go with the love of Christ. And go with a wonderment, an amazement of all that God is doing. And may we go from this place singing this song in our soul.
Amen. Go in peace.